Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Good morning to everyone present in this session. Welcome to Sarosh Digital Learning, Class 6th, English Subject, Unit 4.4. The topic name is A Mad Tea Party. Page number 88. Here, in this topic, Alice in Wonderland is a fantasy novel written by Lewis Carroll. It tells us of the adventures of a little girl called Alice, who falls into a rabbit hole and finds herself in a fantasy world where funny people mingle with peculiar creatures. Here she happens to attend a tea party with three of them: the March Hare, the Mad Hatter, and the Dormouse. Here in this novel, we are going to study about the party which they had done. In this party, Alice and along with her, three of them, they are the March Hare, the Mad Hatter, and the Dormouse. Before beginning with this chapter, fantasy. Here, fantasy means imaginative fiction involving magic and adventure. Now, students, what is the meaning of mingle? Mingle means mix with peculiar creatures. Here, peculiar means strange. Here, peculiar means strange. Let us begin with this unit point 4.4. I am reading the lesson, page number 88. There was a table set out under a tree in front of the house, and the March Hare and the Hatter were having tea at it. There was a table set which was under a tree in front of the house, and March Hare and the Hatter, they were having tea at it. A dormouse was sitting between them, fast asleep, and the other two were using it as a cushion, resting their elbows on it and talking over its head. Very comfortable for the dormouse, thought Alice. Only as it's asleep, I suppose it doesn't mind. So what were they doing? They were having tea, both of them. Who? March Hare and the Hatter. And in the meanwhile, a dormouse was sitting between them, and he was fast asleep. And the other two they were using a cushion, resting their elbows and talking over its head. So, the table was a large one, but the three were all crowded together at one corner of it. No room, they cried out when they saw Alice coming. There's plenty of room, said Alice indignantly. Here, the indignantly is showing anger that has been caused by something wrong, unjust, or mean. So she was trying them to make them understand that there's plenty of room. And she sat down in a large armchair at one end of the table. Saying this, that there's plenty of room, and then she sat down in a large arm at one end of the table. Have some wine, the March Hare said in an encouraging tone. Then, what did she say afterwards? Let us some have wine, the March Hare said in an encouraging tone. Alice looked all round the table, but there was nothing on it but tea. So, instead of wine, there was what on the table? There was tea. I don't see any wine, she remarked. What did she say? Alice, when she sat in a large armchair, and there March Hare, he said in encouraging tone that let us some have wine. But instead of wine, there was tea. There was tea. She remarked, there isn't any, said the March Hare. There was no wine. Let us move towards the page number 89. Yes, so what did she say? That there is no wine. Then it wasn't very civil of you to offer it, said Alice angrily. So she got angry, and angrily she said, civil. Here civil means polite, well-mannered. In other words, we can say well-mannered. So it wasn't very civil of you to offer it, said Alice angrily. It wasn't very civil of you to sit down without being invited, said the March Hare. So these both were saying that very politely that there is no wine but there is tea. I didn't know it was your table, said Alice. So Alice was trying to say that I was not knowing that it was your table. It's laid for a great many more than 3. This large table, it is laid for a great many more than 3. Your hair wants cutting, said the Hatter. He had been looking at Alice for some time with great curiosity, and this was his first speech. So, what he is trying to say, Hatter, that your hair wants cutting. He had been looking at Alice for some time in a curious manner, and this was his first speech. You should learn not to make personal remarks, Alice said with some severity. It's very rude. You should learn not to make personal remarks, Alice said with some severity. Here, severity means sternness. Severity means sternness. Means very rudely she was saying this. The Hatter opened his eyes very wide on hearing this, but all he said was, why is a raven like a writing desk? What did Hatter do? Hatter opened his eyes very wide, and on hearing this, he said, why is a raven like a writing desk? Raven means a large bird like a crow with shiny black feathers and a loud cry. And a loud cry. Then now, come, we shall have some fun now, thought Alice. I am glad they have begun asking riddles. I believe I can guess that, she added aloud. Now what was going on? Come, we shall have some fun now, thought Alice. She was saying that we will have some fun. I am glad they have begun asking riddles. Now they started playing riddles among them. And I believe I can guess that, she added aloud. What did she say? That whatever riddles is going to be asked, I will be able to answer aloud. Do you mean that you think you can find out the answer to it? Said the March Hare. Exactly so, said Alice. What did she say to March Hare? That I will be able to answer. Then you should say what you mean, the March Hare went on. Okay, then what March Hare said, okay, then I will ask. Let us see. I do. Alice hazily replied, at least, I mean what I say, that's the same thing, you know. Okay, what did Alice replied? At least, I mean what I say, that's the same thing, you know. Means whatever she will answer, that same answer you will be also answering. This is the meaning of that. Now next, not the same thing a bit, said the Hatter. You might just as well say that. I see what I eat is the same thing as I eat what I see. What is she trying to make to Hatter? That you might just as well say that whatever I see, what I eat is the same thing as I eat what I see. Now just have a look on the other paragraph to the right side. You might just as well say, added the March Hare, that I like what I get is the same thing as I get what I like. Here Alice wants to say that I see what I eat what I see. And March Hare wants to say that I like what I get is the same thing as I get what I like. Okay, students? You might just as well say, added the Dormouse, who seemed to be talking, is his sleep. That I breathe when I sleep is the same thing as I sleep when I breathe. Now Dormouse is saying that I breathe when I sleep is the same thing as I sleep when I breathe. So there are three different sentences which is said by Hatter, by March Hare and by Dormouse. It is the same thing with you, said the Hatter, and here the conversation dropped and the party sat silent for a minute. Now this conversation was going on of the three of them, and along them Alice was also there. So this party sat silent for a minute. While Alice thought over all she could remember about ravens. I said the meaning of raven, that is a large bird like a crow with shiny black feathers and a loud cry, and writing desk which wasn't much. Have you guessed the riddle yet? The Hatter said, turning to Alice again. Now Hatter is asking to Alice that did you guess the riddle? What did I say? No, I give it up. Alice